Bambe so. Guys.
Like, I'm in the land about Good morning, everyone. Can we all please settle down, find a seat? We are ready to start.
Chancellor of Rhodes University, the Honorable Justice Lexi Mpati, Honorable Justice Gerald Bloom, Chair of Council, the Vice Chancellor, Vice Chancellor responsible for academic and student affairs, my counterpart from the University of Fort Hare, the Registrar, CSO, Deans of Faculty, Heads of Department, academic colleagues, students, directors of support departments, deputy CEO of RISA at the NRF, our strategic partners from UNTEC, our generous sponsors, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, family of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong, friends of Rhodes University. My name is Kwezi Ziligazi. I have the privilege of serving as the Deputy Vice Chancellor responsible for research, innovation, and strategic partnerships here at Rhodes. And I am delighted to be your program director for this morning as we unveil Tebello Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation. This 19 million rand state-of-the-art facility just behind me has been built to advance cutting-edge research in nanotechnology, and its completion marks a monumental step for scientific innovation in Africa, as it is indeed a one-stop shop for innovation. The work of the Nanotechnology Innovation Institute revolves around using nanotechnology to solve real-world health, material science, and environmental sustainability challenges. They work towards a better future for all, from pioneering life-saving medical therapies to creating advanced water purification and renewable energy materials. I'm often told it's when the speaker faces the microphone that you get feedback like that. So perhaps you can help by slightly amending the direction of your speakers. Today is not just about the building. Looks like it's about audiovisual services. Today is not just about the building and the high-end research infrastructure that it houses. It is also about Rhodes University paying tribute to distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong, after whom the building is named. It is about paying tribute to a gentle giant of African science and innovation who has dedicated her entire life to advancing science on the African continent. This event is also about the people, past and present, who have contributed to the successes of the INI and whose lives have been shaped by the time that they have spent here. This 3-day celebration kicked off yesterday with a cocktail function at Eden Grove last night. It was wonderful to see the reconnections between the illustrious and formidable I&I alumni. The celebration also takes place in the context of the university's 120 years of existence. And today's event is the 50th and the final event in the bicentennial program, which kicked off on January 26th. Over the course of this morning, you will hear from various people who have played a significant role in the life of the Tebello Nyokong I&I. We will also hear from those whose lives have been impacted by the time spent here, as well as from our various strategic partners. There can be no groundbreaking science and innovation without appropriate physical infrastructure and high-end instrumentation. So the first speaker this morning is Dr. Ian Lunge, who is the project manager for the building and the person behind the monumental task of planning and coordination the relocation of the I&I to its new quarters. I invite Dr. Ian Lunge.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Program Director. Distinguished guests, Chancellor, Mr. Vice Chancellor, University executives, faculty members, students, colleagues and friends. It is a profound honor to stand before you today as the project team leader for the Tebello Nyokong Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation new building project. Today marks the culmination of many years of vision, collaboration, and a great deal of hard work, a moment which we have all been eagerly anticipating. As the program director has said, this institute is not just a building or a collection of laboratories. It is indeed a beacon of hope and progress that will push the boundaries of science, technology, innovation, and human potential in this town, in this province, in this country, and in this continent. I've been asked to share with you a brief history of the birth of this magnificent facility. Now, decades ago, a young but ascending research star, one Tebello Nyokong, secured funding for and established what was known as the NIC DST Mintech Nanotechnology Innovation Center. In its wisdom at that time, the university allocated what was known as seed space for the new center. In those days, such new initiatives had to prove themselves before the full resources of the university would be poured into the new initiative. Space was made available in this building next door to us, which is the Chemical and Pharmaceuticals Sciences building. Over subsequent years, as the center grew from strength to strength, and I think under Prof's sterling leadership, it literally progressed in leaps and bounds. However, space became quite an issue, and it was literally shoehorned into every single nook and cranny in that building. With students, for example, their write-up space being created in corridors, in passageways. I'm sure that some of the students will remember that with a great deal of fondness. However, as the center was growing, regretfully, the condition of the building itself was deteriorating at an alarming pace. It soon became apparent to us that piecemeal interventions to address, and I use this word deliberately, the frotness of that building would be totally inadequate, and that a complete and comprehensive refurbishment of the building was needed. Education and Training recognized the urgency of the situation and allocated a grant of 130 million for the backlog maintenance for this building. We initially thought we would be able to renovate this building and refurbish it whilst keeping the building's entire academic project underway. Many times did I meet with Prof in her office, and we discussed how we would protect her instruments and her equipment. We even fantasized about geodesic domes that were inflated, that were sealed around the floor to try and protect it from dust and depth. However, based on a reality check as well as our experience of refurbishing the bioscience building whilst keeping the academic project going, and Professor Damas will well remember that, and the challenges that it posed, I was soon completely disabused of this possibility and realized that there was absolutely no way we could refurbish the Chem Farm building and guarantee the integrity of the I&I instruments and equipment. And so the idea of a brand new building was born. The university's Board of Governors was approached to see if funding could be raised for the new building. Unfortunately, not much funding materialized, and after about 18 months presentation to the DHET in Cape Town, I was actually on holiday with my family, and we had to report on infrastructure progress to the relevant committee. The DDG at the time, Dr. Diane Parker, who was chair of the IAG committee, expressed concern that the Chem Farm project had not yet commenced, and she wanted to know what we needed to get going. He responded that we needed funding to create a new building, as it was going to be impossible to refurbish the Chem Farm building and protect the integrity of Prof's research program. Having listened intently, Dr. Parker then requested me to submit at 5 p.m. the following day. This was about midday. By 5 p.m. the following day, first of all, a written proposal motivating that the I&I project should be classified as a national academic priority in terms of the IAG funding category 5.1, and secondly, to provide a detailed proposal for the funding of the project. After some intense telephone conversations with the CFO, Commish and I had like intense discussions, and he had to then network here back home. I started the compiling at 4 o'clock. My family and I had to check out of our the next morning at dawn. So the proposal was actually largely written in the back of my car whilst I was being chauffeured by my son back home. In order to access the information that I needed for the proposal, we had to stop regularly along the way from Cape Town at pit stops which had Wi-Fi access. The completed proposal was actually sent at 16:50 that day. So we made it by 10 minutes. And that was from the Windmill, one stop between Jeffreys Bay and Kobaka. The outcome of this frenzy is that the project was indeed categorized by DHET as a national academic priority, and the proposed funding model of 100 million was in fact approved by the Minister. And the outcome is what you see on the other side of the screen. The fact that it was relatively easy to persuade the DHET to categorize the project as a national academic priority was in fact an easy task and no big surprise. Nanotechnology, as many of you know, operates at the scale of atoms and molecules, particles and subparticles, smaller than a thousandth of the width of a human hair, but its potential is anything but small. This field is already transforming industries, from healthcare and energy to electronics and environmental sustainability. Imagine a future where cancer treatments only target diseased cells. And Prof, this is one of the things that I used to persuade Dr. Parker and her team that your institute was worthy of recognition. Because many years ago, Prof explained to me her finding that this dye in blue genes, for some other reason, is attracted to cancer cells. And so she and her team are working to try and get chemotherapy molecules to bind to the dye so that the chemotherapy will go only to diseased cells and not to the whole body. So it's not something as simple as that. As the program director and the DVC has said, nanotechnology is not merely an area of science. It is a frontier where imagination can meet reality. This dedicated new building represents the truly, truly magnificently outstanding contribution made by distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong and her distinguished research team and her students. Her contribution, which has been recognized and acknowledged around the globe by some of the most eminent and respected scientific communities, stands to be supported and enhanced even further, Prof, by the state-of-the-art facility behind us. And we eagerly look forward to this new chapter which has started. Program Director, this is an opportune moment for me to express my deepest gratitude to those who made this facility possible. To our Minister at the time, the Honourable Blade Mzimande, to the then Deputy Director General Diane Parker and her team, thank you for your absolute support and investment in this ambitious project. To our university leadership, the executive team, and the CFO, Mr. Riga, in particular, thank you hugely for all the background support and encouragement. To the incredible planning and design team, thank you beyond words. Here, special mention must be made of Professor Rosa Klein, the head of the chemistry department, Professor Elani Mashazi. Elani, you have been a rock. Who is Elani is the Deputy Director of the INI, and he also has a fabulous team of Dr. Jonathan Britton and Mr. Francis Chindeka. The university's Infrastructure and Facilities Director, Mr. Davi van Dijk, not sure if he's here. The architect, Mr. Neil Kivit, the QS, Mr. Peter May, the Kingscales Morn Brown Engineers, Roy Bowles Construction, our builders, and Northfield Engineering, who, thank God, we discovered them when we did, because they were the team that were responsible for moving all of Prof's multi-million rands worth of instruments and equipment from this building into this building. And we did that, we achieved that without a single issue. The issue that did happen was electrically related, not related to the move. So really, that was absolutely fabulous. And it included, by the way, the very first helicopter airlift in Makanda. Is this some new form of nanotechnology? family, and to my wife Sally in particular. You have been my rock star. Thank you. And last but not least, to my dear friend Tebello, and I'm doing this without the titles. Thank you for keeping the faith through this process, and thank you especially for some 30 years of wonderful friendship. In closing, this institute is not just a place for research. It is a place for redefining what is possible. To the researchers, I encourage you to dream big and take risks. Science thrives on curiosity and courage. And in Prof, we have bucket loads of courage. It's often the boldest ideas that lead to the greatest of breakthroughs. To the students who are very special in the heart of Prof Nyokong, research and into your fields. Ask the difficult questions, to challenge the status quo, and then to move on to contribute meaningfully to good in the world. This institute is more than just a facility. I hope we will all see it as a promise to explore, to innovate, and to serve humanity. As we cut the ribbon today, we are not just opening a building, we are indeed opening doors to a brighter and more innovative future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ian Lange. I especially loved that story about how you used the dye and the genes to convince Dr. Dye Parker that this was a worthwhile project. As I mentioned earlier, the day today and the celebrations are not just about the building, but they're also about the people who have passed through the doors of the INI. Our next speaker is Professor Kenneth Ozimina, who is a physical chemist, material scientist, and academic. He obtained his PhD in chemistry from Rhodes University 21 years ago. He has risen through the ranks to attain the highest accolade in the South African National System of Innovation, being an NRF A rating. He's a research professor at Wits University, where he holds a Saatchi Research Chair in Materials, Electrochemistry, and Energy Technologies. He is a former student of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong, and he is also now an active collaborator here at the INI. It is a pleasure to welcome you back home, Professor Ozimina.
Good day. Thank you, Program Director, DVC, Kwezi, for Kwezi Nzilikazi. This is the problem when you don't come to the university, you know, where your alma mater. I should have known your name. I don't even have to check it before I pronounce. I want to also thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Abizela, yeah, and your executive team. I want to also thank everybody here. Please, can I say that all protocols observed? and my veterans, my fellow veterans. Yeah. Okay. It is indeed an honor to be here today to speak on behalf of my fellow veterans of S22. We used to call ourselves S22. And thank you for that kind introduction. I didn't know that you have such a, where you got that. I didn't get you. Yeah, so it's always a pleasure to be here. We run very busy schedules these days, but one invitation I will never say no to is an invitation from Rose University. This is the university that I love so much. It's a university that has really made me. I remember being here. I arrived here on the 6th of February, 2000. And the first place I moved into was Professor Nyokong's office. That's what she normally do. You come. The first place you drop your bag will be in her office. And then the next thing you do, she will then introduce you to the laboratory. Your life starts. So, yeah, it's been really an honor. When I was saying it's always good that we visit. Yesterday when I was coming, I can't believe it, we missed the road. We missed the road from Port Elizabeth, from the airport. I thought I was driving with colleagues, but at the time, because the road was so good, beautiful weather, and then we started driving. It's not like Johannesburg. No, we couldn't see any car coming, no traffic at all. So we kept driving. It was so beautiful. Until we got to a point where we saw Grahamstown, Cookhouse, and Craddock or something. We said, no, wait a minute. Grahamstown, this road, is a gravel road. So somebody, saw us and realized that these guys have been lost. So he came to us and said, can I help you? We said, yes. We have been waiting for our friends. Nobody is coming behind us, and something is wrong here. We must have missed our way. We want to go to Grahamstown, Rose University. He said, okay. You just turn back. After 5 kilometers, then you turn left. So we started. We realized that we have driven about 25 kilometers from where we should have turned from the... So that's the problem of not visiting as often as one should. This morning I woke up 5 o'clock. I decided to go around the university. I was walking and jogging, and for 1 hour 30 minutes, I think I made 5.6 miles. When I converted, it was it's 9.01 kilometers this morning. So I went up there. I was looking for a particular room, a particular building that I stayed with my wife when I came in 2000. I couldn't find that. I think something they must have renewed it. They must have renovated it that nobody could recognize it again. And but we saw Nelson Mandela Hall, Mboyi, Goldfield, so many of them, even Masekela Hall, Desmond Tutu. So, okay, I went to the law. I looked for law. I couldn't find law. I couldn't find law. My wife studied law there. I couldn't find it. I wanted to take a picture. I couldn't find law. I went after Eden Group. I couldn't find it. So the story is, this is a beautiful place, and it's a place that I will all forever cherish. I don't want to talk so much about Prof. Nyokong. He is everything the last speaker said, Professor Lange said about her. But she's more than anything for us. She is a super amazing supervisor, mentor, human being. she is. Since I met her, we keep learning from her. You see, she's someone you just cannot avoid not to learn from. It is difficult to get everything from her. There are so many things. I will start with some things that we don't know about her. I don't personally, after 20-something years, she reads very fast. She writes very fast. That I tried to do that when I went to VIT and the UP. I've been there up here, Gauteng. I couldn't. So there are things you cannot do. You simply give up. That one I've given up. I tried just feel, I know it's not going to happen. It's not me, So that's number one. You cannot do that. Another thing one has to learn from her is how you have so many students you are supervising, and yet you have the time to read other books that are non-scientific. You don't see her reading chemistry. Most of the time she travels, she reads, she has some books she's reading. It's now that I realize that maybe she's reading those self-development books. That's what I think. I'm not sure, but she doesn't read chemistry. She just reads. She reads. So she hasn't told us how she does that and still copes with some of the things that she's supposed to be doing. So, like I said, the other things that I must have learned, I have learned about 3 of them I will mention here, is that life does not wait for anybody. You just wake up, keep pushing no matter what. And that is what she has done. She has taught us, and I've learned that from her. When you get to her, she will tell you, how life started with her as a young academic. In fact, we were looking at her picture yesterday. The picture she took in 1997. So small. It's so small. Then you wonder how she could have, how she was maybe in 1992 when she was here. Yeah, it wasn't that rosy as you would expect from any success. But she pushed through, and not only that she conquered, but she also, like the last speaker said, she has dominated chemistry. She has dominated chemistry locally in this South Africa, in the continent, and the world. Another thing that she's told us is, I've learned from her is, she will tell us, you must use the Swedish system. I don't know what that means. I'm sure maybe some of my veterans would. She would say, we go the Swedish system. We don't follow the university system. In other words, you have to publish 5 papers before you can start thinking of writing up your thesis. Yes. So for me, we thought that Swedish system means 5 publications. That's the way we understood it. So she pushes you, and pushes you. And she told me personally that, Ken, I think you will be a good academic, but one thing I will advise you is just look up, go international. Anything that you do international. Prof, up till now I have not published any paper in Africa. I haven't published in any journal. So it gives me, recently I got a South African gold medal, the South African Chemical Institute gold medal. I'm the latest recipient, and I'm now forced to write something in the journal. So I'll break that jinx now. So the next thing is, she said we should take good care of yourselves. Once you take good care of yourself, every other thing will fall in place. She takes good care of herself. I'm sure this little accident she has, she will tell us she has no time. She doesn't have time for ill health. She doesn't have that time. That's her word. She has no time to be sick. Yeah. So I'm sure she's not happy with this. It's not that the pain alone. It's just it is stopping her from doing some of the things she would like to do. That's the only thing I know. So Then she goes to church. Some people don't know. Some people don't know. She goes to church. She's not regular, but she goes from time to time. She's not regular. But she goes to church from time to time. You see her. She exercises a lot. She exercises. I used to live at Celeste Flats, and I would, through a window in the evening after school hours, you see her walking around Grahamstown. She used to. I don't know whether she still does that. You have no feet. Don't worry, you'll do that again when it's. Okay. And the last time, I'm told that I need only 5 minutes, all the way from Johannesburg, the Gauteng, to spend 5 minutes. Okay. To speak for 5 minutes. Yeah. Another thing is that her emotional intelligence is second to none. And I'm sure my colleagues will bear me witness to that. Just like the last example I gave, she doesn't feel so much about it. It can't bring her down. But there was a time, the only time I noticed she was a bit, she was so emotional about something happening to one of us. I've forgotten the year, but it was in those days. She called me and said, Ken, this guy is like, he's going to commit suicide. I'm really concerned now. He was a PhD student then. I said, Prof, who is that? She told me, I'm not going to mention the name because the guy is now, I know where the person lives, overseas. I said, Prof, is a Nigerian? She said, yes. Nigerians don't commit suicide. I said, no, these guys have seen it all. They are from villages in Nigeria. They have seen poverty. For him to have come all the way from Nigeria to Grahamstown and to commit suicide is a lie. I said, Prof, don't worry. And she looked at me and said, okay. She laughed. So I taught her something that day. Yeah, another thing, the last one is about peace. Peace is about minding your own business. That's the way she sees peace. Mind your business, number one. Number two, about peace is you don't have time to bear grudges about anything. If somebody annoys you or fights you, she will know in the group. You don't tell her. She will know whether you like it or not. And then she will call you to her office. The next thing she will tell you is, you go now and have a cup of tea somewhere. We come from Nigeria, having tea, to settle. She says, go and have a cup of tea and you settle. Prof, I'm doing that now. What I do in the village, you said when you have a PhD, you cannot hide yourself. Even if you don't want to speak like I'm speaking now, they will still call you to speak. So you have to learn to deal with this type of thing. So in my village, they know me. My village, very remote village in Nigeria, in Imo State. I'm from the Igbo speaking. They always call me. The villagers are having problems, they will call me. They have their son who is a PhD. Says the extraordinary professor. They don't understand the meaning of extraordinary professor. They think, the way the English taught them extraordinary. They think that you are just better than every human being. So but they don't know I was an extraordinary professor at the University of Pretoria some years ago. I think I still am because I'm still supervising one of their students. So the extraordinary means you are not part of you are outside the university. But my villagers see it as, hey, their son is the extraordinary professor. So so that's the way, and they're okay. So she is the way my people understand the extraordinary. That's what she is. And then, so what I do, whenever there is a problem, I will call those people. You go outside. The bill is on me. You must go have food somewhere and maybe some drinks, and I will pay for that. So instead of asking them to go take tea. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Finally, I want to thank this university, my alma mater. And I want to, for them to have bought into this vision of building this iconic building here. You don't know what that means to us and to generations unborn. And I want to thank you Prof. Thank you so much, my dear VC, and your executive team, your board of executives, and the university community to erect something of this nature, 90 million rand words. Everybody must have contributed. And like Professor Lange said, I think Professor Pilani Mashazi came here, was prepared for this time. I told him yesterday, because who knows, you know, it's only God who knows. We don't know, but you're here at the right time. I want to thank you and your team that helped to get this thing done. Prof, thank you especially for giving us yet another bragging right. Yeah, thank you so much. This has come to stay. It's not just an institute for nanotechnology. It's going to be, it will outlive many of us. All of us would have gone hundreds of years, would come, this building would be here, just like other institutes. I saw all of them as I was passing through this morning. And our job, and I think I want to tell also my colleagues, everybody, you have to start when you write your will. Remember to put something there, even if it is 50,000 rand. Put it in your will for this one. Yeah, we should do that. That's the only way we can keep this thing going. Yeah, it will be here forever. And I'm so emotional, but I don't want to say today we are celebrating. We don't want to cry. We just have to celebrate for what you have done for us and what the university has done for us. Because you can have all those accolades and yet the university will say, no, they wouldn't do that. So I think all kudos go to them. Thank you very much. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here. Thanks.
Wow. Thank you, Professor Uzmina, for taking us down memory lane and also for sharing with us some of the lessons you have learnt during the time that you spent here with Prof. Nyokong. I have many gifts, but one of them is not singing. So as Prof was speaking here, I was reminded that yesterday evening and this morning, I kept hearing of the veterans. So these are now the super distinguished and illustrious alumni of the INI. So in this course, there's this song that we like to sing, especially during December when there's lots of celebrations, most of them being when boys come back from the village as young men. And it goes something, I'm not gonna sing, I'm trusting maybe Spogazi will help. It goes, bendiniqelele dathi ndinabo abantu bam abazalana nam, which basically means I have told you that I've got my own people that I am related to. And then it goes naba, which means here they are. Here they are. So can I ask all the distinguished veterans who are alumni of INI to stand, please? And Spokas, maybe you can say, Naba, abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam bendini pelele, dachi nabo abantu bam. Abasalana nam bendini pelele, dachi nabo abantu bam. Abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam bamba. Abasalana nam naba, abasalana nam. Thank you. Tatintinabo. Thank you. Thank you very much. Maybe there'll be more of that tonight. All right. Our next speaker is Professor Laki Shukuvulu. He represents Mintech. Now, the government established the DSI Nanotechnology Innovation Center way back in 2007. This DSI Mintech NIC is a national facility and consists of 3 university nodes, being the University of Johannesburg, the University of the Western Cape, and Rhodes University. And the Rhodes node focuses on sensors for early detection of disease. This program has been running for the past 17 years, and it has been an enormous investment from the government through the DSI, and it has been a massive success. Since its inception, it has provided funding to Rhodes University, previously the NIC, now the INI, which has resulted in the support that led to the graduation of close to 50 PhDs and 56 MSc graduating, and this number keeps growing. So these numbers were from last year. The main aim of the NIC then was to equip nanotechnology research to create a community of nanotechnology researchers and equip them with research tools. And this resulted in the initial funding by the DSI Mintech for the equipment that housed the Institute of Nanotechnology Innovation, the INI, which now contains over 200 million rands worth of equipment. The Vice Chancellor likes to remind us that the value of the equipment in the INI is more than the value of the building itself. The equipment in the INI is now funded from various other sources, including Rhodes University and the NRF. So I now invite Professor Shiguvulu to come and say a few words about the relationship between the Institute and Mintech.
A very good morning to everyone. I stand before you this morning, and all I could feel is I wish I had graduated from here. But we can work it out, right? With that said, I would love to thank the executive management of the university. I would love to thank the distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong. Thank you for bringing us here. You make us look important. and we appreciate that. I'd love to thank the communications department here at Rhodes for putting together such a big show. And somehow you picked our name somewhere and you thought it well that we should be here and communicate and share some few things with everyone. So thank you so much for having us here. We're grateful to be here. Right. We're here to celebrate a giant. I tried hard to think about how I could best describe her, but there's just no words to describe the kind of person she is. I call her a giant because the researchers have come up with many ways of measuring just how successful you are as a researcher. There's something called Edge Index. You guys are familiar with this? It's meant to measure the impact of your research. It's not just the research you do, it's not just how innovative you are, but it's about how impactful you are as a person. It's one thing that I feel like we don't really appreciate it enough. Let me put it this way. How often do you think we're going to come across someone who's got impact factor larger than their age? I do not mean to go too far, but I know the young people have smartphones and you'll probably be looking it up. It's shocking, right? But there are very few people in this world who ever achieve that. However, I've been here many times, different events. I've prepared different speeches, gone through the roller coaster of being nervous, looking at people and thinking, what the hell are they thinking about me? I probably don't care anymore. But what I really want to share with you is just something from the heart to really say, here's a person, you look at the caliber of the people who stood up, and that's just a fraction of the people she has supervised. The one person that you walk. So since I took over in my current position, I would make visits to Rhodes. And the first thing I would do when I come here would be to go to the lab. Just get the sense of what's happening so I could learn from it. But one thing that I did do is I also got a chance to attend presentations of the students when they presented. I tell you, if you get to see her interact with her students, you'll feel sorry for them. You will feel sorry for them. And then I thought, why would she do that? Right? But if you go to a conference and you come across a student that comes from this university, you don't need no introduction. All you need is to listen and hear them talk. The eloquence, everything great that comes out of the way they deliver, the credence of the presentations, they have that thing that says Rhodes University. And then you come back from a conference, you come down here to Grahamstown. She would often take me out for a pizza, a lovely pizza somewhere. I'm not telling where it is. It's a special place. But when you get there, she'll kind of bribe you to understand that you need to be tough, but you also need to know how to be good with them. She's a very good dancer. I'm not sure how many of you know that. Over the years, I have seen her dance with a glass in her hand. You know better than me. So she has always been the friend to the students. They've always been proud to be by her side. They've always learned, and I mean, I couldn't help it, but when Kenneth was talking, all I could see was her DNA is just everywhere. The way they talk, the way they think, whatever you did. So it's a beautiful thing to really experience, and I'm really honored and proud to be here and share with you just how great she's been. She's one person who could have been anywhere. She could have been working in any country. In Canada, for one. She could have been anywhere in Africa. She could have been anywhere else, even places we don't know. On Mars, maybe? She could have made it. She could have worked for any industry. She could have been given a blank check. She could have chosen how much she wants to get paid every month. She chose Rhodes. And for all these years, regardless of the adversities that she might have had to put up with, because that's how it works, she stayed here and she gave nothing less than excellence. And we're standing here for one major thing, excellence, which is what she stood for. And we're grateful to be somehow introduced to this concept, because we stand here, even as we talk, the only thing that I'm thinking in my head is, how can I be excellent? Because this is the source of excellence. It's Rhodes, right? Yes. I bet I've done enough to deserve something. Right. But with everything that she has and the fact that she could have worked anywhere, and she decided to be here, I want to tell you a little story. She's got the research chairs. She's attracted funding from industries. She's done everything, and money was never an issue. But here's the thing, she never looked for funding for herself. It was always for the students, for equipment, everything, infrastructure. So it was building for the future. Now that is great. Now here's one thing I want you to remember, especially the students. It was always about you and never anything else. We stand here today. She retires, a happy person, maybe someday. I doubt she will retire. But if she should, she'll probably retire. The only thing that she leaves behind is a good legacy that says, my students will be mini-me, and someday they will rise and become everything. I don't need to spell this out. You look at the gentleman who spoke just before me. Need I say more? That's just what it is. So we're grateful to see this and to be part of this and to witness this, because we're within the same ecosystem. And that is one thing that we celebrate. So I'm really grateful that this is basically how things are. I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'm really happy that in the little time that we've had, there's so much lessons that I've learned from you. When you served in multiple advisory boards, steering committees, and you've given advices to many institutions, this country stands tall today simply because of your contribution, and that will not go unnoticed. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Chikwivulu. I have been sensitized about time, so I will try and shorten my introduction of our next speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Kukumoshe. She is the Group Executive for Digital Transformation at the NRF, as well as the Acting Deputy CEO for Research, Innovation, Impact, Support, and Advancement. We shorten it NRF RISA. RISA is responsible for multidisciplinary funding that supports, promotes, and advances the creation of knowledge and innovation through research funding, human capacity development funding, and research infrastructure funding, with the tagline, transforming lives, inspiring a nation. Dr. Kukumoshe.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to congratulate the university on achieving this unprecedented milestone. But before I start, allow me to acknowledge the VC and his leadership team, the Chancellor, academics, students, and partners. I think those that have spoken before me have spoken to the excellence that's been celebrated here. But I think maybe what we need to do is to pause a little bit and say, what does it mean for the country? Right? That the establishment of this state-of-the-art facility should not just be a testament to the vision of Rhodes University and its partners, that it should be more than a physical space. It must be a symbol of commitment to advancing science for the betterment of society. And what does it mean? Right? And I think maybe before we even note how important this journey has been and what it is to the country, let's note, and I think the chair spoke to that a little bit, that in 2006, our country, recognizing the prevalent social ills and the promise of nanotechnology research, ensured that there's a nanotechnology strategy, and that strategy focused on two things. One part is the social cluster, which was intended to address social ills, and the other part was to strengthen our manufacturing sector, so our mining sector and advancing materials. And in all that, as I begin to say this, note the role that this institute has played and continues to play. And the key objectives and outcomes of that initiative, of that strategy, was first the establishment of characterization centers, that being development of multinational user facilities for advancements of nanoscience research. Two, the creation of research and innovation networks. Three, human capital development, and particularly looking at how do we build a skilled workforce in nanoscience and nanotechnology, and implementation of flagship projects. That as it may be, the question then remains, how far are we in delivering on the promise of nanotechnology, and how far are we in delivering on that strategy? And if you look at it, the research outputs, which most of them, by the way, come from the university vice chancellor, have shown that in 2000, we only have almost 68 papers in nanotechnology. But by 2019, we had more than 1,800 publications, which marks a tremendous increase. in terms of global standing, that despite, and that's why it is so important to locate the institute in what we're doing as a country, that despite this growth, this exponential growth, that and productivity, that when you look at us within the BRICS, we still have work to do. And to that, it's sort of saying to us that yes, we have made strides, but indeed we have to increase our productivity index beyond 0.68. And also in terms of innovation and commercialization, our publications show that only 3.5% reported publications actually went to the point of commercialization. And again, saying to us that we are not just talking about excellence at Rhodes, we are talking about, as a country, how do we then deliver on the promise of nanotechnology research and innovation. So, was it a mistake, or was it sort of a coincidence, or any of that, that the person right at the forefront of shepherding this journey towards innovation in nanotechnology is Professor Nyokong? And we say no. And from the NRF, we know that this journey is in the right pilot. As a Sachi Chair, as a lifetime achiever, as one who was entrusted with so many granting funding from the NRF, we know that this journey is in the right hands. And maybe as I deviate a little bit and talk about Professor Nyokong, that we used to struggle a little bit when she will send us her progress reports. We say to Prof. Nyokong, we have given you X amount, can we get sort of progress on this? And you get 50 pages of progress, of progress on not just what came out of what was funded, but what came as leveraged out of this funding. And for that, you note that as a country, we are on the right track. So if you pause and say, can we then talk about what has been some of the visible impact and advancements of the Institute? And you look at it and you say, well, the first one that you look at is, have we seen capacity building and talent development? And that, I don't think one has to talk about. You've had colleagues that have stood here and gave testament to students that have been produced. And for that, we know that I&I has significantly contributed to the cultivation of human capital in nanotechnology. And I heard the chair talking about almost 100 students, postgraduate students, but data reflects that we have over 150 postgraduate students that have completed degrees under the mentorship of I&I. That also, most importantly so, the Institute has prioritized inclusivity, with over 60% of its graduates being from historically underrepresented groups in science and engineering. Right? And also through targeted outreach programs, it has introduced nanotechnology concepts to secondary school learners, inspiring the next generation of scientists. So as we move forward on this journey, or we are saying, or at least what we are seeing, is what is promising, that says it is not just focused on the now, but it says we are building a future as far as nanotechnology research is concerned. The other part that I think is worth noting in terms of what this institute has done is pioneering research and scientific contributions. That if you look at it, if you look at development of advanced nanomaterials, you note that I&I has indeed pioneered novel nanomaterials for applications we see now in biomedicine, but to an extent also in water purification. Collaboration. I think that you can't go anywhere and talk about nanotechnology without the name of Professor Nyokong not to be not included, or in fact the country not actually being mentioned. And what I then has managed to do is to successfully position itself as a hub for collaboration. If you look at the partnerships, one actually went into the site, but also looked at the reports that we have received from Prof. Nyokong. You will note that it has formed partnerships with leading institutions globally. But not only that, one thing that we struggle as a country is making sure that our industries contribute immensely on research. And we see that the engagement with local industry has led to commercialization of some of the technologies developed in the institute, and thereby getting us a little bit closer in bridging that gap between research and application. What should we then think of when we think of the future prospects and the role of the building behind us, right? And also the role, I'm sure, that will follow post, and I'm not retiring you, Prof. Nyokong, I'm just saying the role post Prof. Nyokong. That as a country, we will see enhancement of research capabilities. That indeed we will begin to see cutting edge laboratories and equipment, which we hope will then help us exploring novel frontiers in nanotechnology. And something that I think as universities we struggle with, and I say as universities we because prior to my space at the NRF, one was also in the university, is strengthening community engagement. That these new facilities indeed should include spaces dedicated to public education and engagement, fostering deeper understanding of nanotechnology among stakeholders and the general public. And looking at the history of I&I, there's no reason to think this won't happen. But most importantly, something that also as universities we look at, or is looked at very closely, is promoting interdisciplinary collaboration. That the building indeed designed, and we hope that, I'm sure we will see this when we do the tour, will bring experts from diverse fields, fostering synergies that lead to innovative breakthroughs. So as I close, Chair, I heard you talk about time, so let me try to respond to respect that. Is that, again, the Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation at Rhodes, for us, we should look at it as embodying the transformative power of science. It should be a living example of how investment in research and innovation can yield profound benefits for humanity. That as we inaugurate this building, we must, as a collective, and I had earlier on a commitment or a call for funding, but we must, as a collective, reaffirm our collective commitment to advancing scientific excellence and creating a brighter, more equitable future for South Africa in particular. And so let me thank you, Chair, but most importantly, let me thank Rhodes University and thank Professor Nyokong for moving us further as a country to ensure that indeed our research should be for a better society. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moshe. Please allow me to make an amendment, perhaps not a correction, an amendment. So the figures that I cited were just from the MinTech funding. So there have been many more that have been funded through the NRF and Rhodes University and other funders. I also want to take a moment to reflect and maybe brag a little bit that Rhodes University really is a good custodian of the investments that are made at the national level. One of the challenges that institutions struggle with is what to do with a research chair when the 15 years of investment from the NRF have elapsed. And here we see a university that leveraged the funding that was initially invested by the NRF. Mintech continues to leverage other funding from other sources, went from being a center and now is an institute that, dare I say, is one of global repute. So I think Rhodes University has done very well in this regard. We're now going to change pace a little bit, and we're going to invite the internal speakers, that is speakers from Rhodes University, and we request a slight amendment in the program. Prof. Nyokong has requested that she speaks before the Vice Chancellor, and then once the Vice Chancellor has spoken, we will then proceed with the ribbon cutting. And once the ribbon cutting has happened, or just before it happens, we'd like to invite the Chancellor, the Registrar, the CFO, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and Mr. Ian Lange and Professor Mashazi to proceed to the spot behind us. So our next speaker then is the Dean of Science, Professor Joe Dames, who needs no introduction. Chancellor, Chair of Council, VC, DVCs, Deans, HODs, academic and support staff, honored guests, students past and present. It is a glorious day for a celebration. You have heard much today about our, notice I'm saying our, underlined bold, our amazing distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong and her team. And I add my appreciation for all that she has accomplished and brought not only to the science faculty, but also to Rhodes and Makanda, Eastern Cape, Africa and the world. But I would like to draw your attention to something different now, and that is the building behind me and the significance of that building. Many watched in awe as the deep excavations were started, and this became a working area. And we watched from the top windows up there. We all know that strong foundations are essential to provide support for the many, many, many years to come for this building, even past the next 120 years. Distinguished Professor Nyokong similarly has laid strong foundations with every colleague she has mentored, encouraged, or inspired. The students, past and present, represent the bricks of these walls being built over the past 25, 24 years or more. The facade, as you will see past the banner, is glass. This gives us a brief glimpse into a world of research and excellence to any of us who happen to walk by. More importantly, you will notice that this building stands proudly between two other important buildings. The one on your right is the home of pharmacy and chemistry, which will again be fully occupied after the renovations are completed next year. On your left are biochemistry, microbiology, bioinformatics, and biotechnology. Each building houses several accomplished and emerging research groups, bringing their own brand of excellence. The corridors during term time reverberate with the sound of students excited about their disciplines. Well, at least I hope they're excited. But we also appreciate the quiet times like now, where we can get down and concentrate on our research. But most importantly, this building is literally the bridge linking these disciplines, fostering collaborative research, not only in a multidisciplinary sense, but also in a transdisciplinary sense. And I say that because you might not have noticed that literally the bridge connects to the chemistry building, and you can't really see it much on this side, but that connects to the other buildings, so you can walk through the buildings. I imagine that this precinct and this quad could become a meeting point where researchers and students coming out of these buildings will exchange ideas, talk about their dreams, let their imagination run free a bit, discuss some challenges, and perhaps even carry on the discussion over coffee. It is here that new ideas will be generated, innovative solutions will be found, and many of our local, regional, African, and global problems will get sorted in the future. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our distinguished Professor Nyokong for allowing us to celebrate and share this momentous occasion with her, and of course to thank her team. And we stand here again in awe of what has been built. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dammers. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the lady of the moment. It is not possible for me to capture and do justice to the achievements of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong in the few minutes that I have available. I had printed out a 5-page document of the citation that I would read, but I'm not going to do so because she's making her way to the stage. I would like to encourage you to go to our social media pages where the citation has also been posted. Professor Nyokong.
A building is never named after people who are alive. So I've been questioning myself, am I alive? This thing is wobbly, I don't want to talk about it. But thank you to the university. I'm not going to recognize everybody. Thank you for all you do, and thank you for the university to have approved the naming of the building. Oh, am I far? Okay. Okay, sorry. I want to thank really the structures of the university that were mad enough to approve this. Senate is always fighting me, but they approve this. Council is my friend, but nobody's named while they're alive. So we'll see whether I'm alive or not sooner or later. And sometimes we spend a lot of time thanking everybody else. I want to thank even our cleaners. Everybody contributes. The security, even the gardeners, everybody is important. And thank you for contributing to who we are. And NRF and Mintech is 200 plus million, 240 million in there. You funded it. NRF, you don't know, you funded it. Mintech, you funded it. So when you look at it, remember, you are the funder. CSIR, I need money from you. I can stand here and say, I. No. The students, if I could write all their names, there are probably 160 of them, PhDs. There I would. They are the inventors, it's not me. They are the drivers. They educate me. And I want to thank all the students. Past, some of them are probably, what do you call this thing, streaming? I don't understand how those things work. Are probably watching me now. Hi, guys. The ones that came back to visit, none of them are aging. Life is not fair. They still look the same way I saw them 20, 25 years ago. Yo, good for you. I have no feet, so I'll keep quiet. I will not talk long. I will just say, we need to multiply excellence. Constantly multiply excellence. We should stop celebrating mediocrity. We celebrate things that are so small. For the sake of celebrating, those people think they are doing something that they are not. So all my students and all the academics here, we need to multiply excellence. And that's all I want to say.
Okay, so Prof is done. We need to multiply excellence. Stop celebrating mediocrity. We need to get serious. Thank you, Professor Nyokong. So now, the keynote will be delivered by our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sizwe Mabizela.
Thank you very much, DVC and Program Director. Our Chancellor, Justice Lexon Party, the Chair of our University Council, Judge Gerald Bloom, esteemed guests, current and former students of Professor Nyokong, colleagues and friends. Joe, it is indeed a glorious day. Today is one of those special days which will go down as the most treasured in the history of our university. The day Rhodes University immortalized one of its finest and most accomplished academics, distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong. This day marks a significant milestone in the history of our university as a research-intensive university in the world. And this day marks the launch of the state-of-the-art building, which stands as a monument and a fitting tribute to the many years of path-breaking intellectual contribution of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong and her legion of students and collaborators. This is truly a proud moment for Rhodes University. It is a culmination of many years of hard work, dedication, and commitment. This facility will be called the Tebello Nyokong Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation. You might call it Tebello Nyokong INI, or you might call it the Nyokong Institute. But please don't call it the TNINI. Don't call it the TNINI. That Tebello Nyokong part has to be there. And again, as I've indicated, you can, if you think the name is long, you can just call it the Nyokong Institute. Otherwise, you do a huge injustice if you just use letters. I wish to convey our profound gratitude and appreciation to all those who have played a role to get us to this momentous day. As you have heard, the DSI MinTech has been a reliable and trusted partner of our Nanotechnology Innovation Center for many years. Thank you very much, Professor Shigwibiru, for joining us this morning. You were with us when we performed the sword turning ceremony. We acknowledge with much appreciation the role played by the National Research Foundation and the CSIR in the form of student bursaries. We value and treasure the partnerships we have built over the years. It would be remiss of me if I failed to recognize with much appreciation the academic and cleaning staff of the chemistry department, technical and support staff of the Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation, and more importantly, Ms. Gail Kobus. Without Gail, distinguished Professor Nyokong would find it very difficult to navigate the complexities of her demanding daily activities. Gail sees to all distinguished Professor Nyokong's needs. Gail, this is tribute to you as well. The Tebello Nyokong Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation will continue to build on the formidable intellectual power that has been the hallmark of distinguished Professor Nyokong's research group. It will also build on the extensive global network it has developed over the years. Many top-rate researchers from Canada, Brazil, Germany, Sweden, Japan, and elsewhere in the globe have spent time here at Rhodes University to take advantage of the cutting-edge equipment that is housed in the Tebello Nyokong Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation, and to tap in the incredible intellectual knowledge that is found here. This institute will be a place that continues to unleash creativity, to continue to inspire innovation, and spark intellectual curiosity. Over the years, Professor Nyokong has developed a reputation as a demanding student advisor. The fact that students do not run away from her speaks volumes about the manner in which she treats them. Thank you, Professor Nyokong, for placing students at the center of all that you do. Thank you for giving them space to develop and grow as researchers and scholars. I have no doubt that they are the ones who keep you on your toes by constantly challenging you on this, that, or the other. As some of you might know, Professor Nyokong sends her students around the globe. This gives them an opportunity to expand their horizons and helps them realize just how fortunate they are to be supervised by an exceptional scholar of global repute in a university with the best facilities in nanotechnology. In this way, they are able to benchmark the quality of their research experience and realize that they do not have to leave the African continent to receive the best education in the world. In her typical self-effacing manner, Prof always credits her students for the achievements of her institute. In the past number of years, Professor Nyokong has received numerous national and international accolades and awards, which recognize her immense scholarly contribution and the international leadership role that she plays. As the program director indicated, if you were to go through all her achievements, it would take a considerable amount of time. But the two most recent ones in that very long list of accolades are the 7th honorary doctorate degree, Doctor of Science honoris causa, which she received from the Imperial College London in October, and her appointment by the Holy Father, Pope Francis, as one of only 82 advisors on the Vatican Pontifical Academy of Social Sciences. As mentioned earlier by Professor Shikwimburi, Professor Nyokong could have been anywhere in the world, but chose to pursue her career ambitions and aspirations at Rhodes University. Thank you for choosing us. Prof, we salute you. We honor you. We commend you. Above all, we love you dearly. The launch of the Tebello Nyokong Institute for Nanotechnology Innovation and the celebration of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong marked the high watermark in the series of year-long events and activities organized to celebrate the bidecentennial of our university. 120 years of academic excellence. 120 years of rich intellectual contribution and innovation. 120 years of transforming dreams, hopes, and aspirations into reality and success. 120 years of transforming lives. 120 years of nurturing and sustaining the pioneering spirit that has been the hallmark of Rhodes University in all the years of its existence. Despite its size, our university has made remarkable contributions to our nation and beyond. Today's event bears testimony to the pioneering spirit of this university. Professor Shikumbura, there's something very distinctive about Rhodes University graduates. And you will never find words to describe it. The incredible confidence they have. They're so articulate. And just on Monday last week, we were taken around the institute by those young people. How they can speak about the work that they do with incredible confidence. It's something I could never do. So there's something truly distinct and distinctive about this small and very special university. As I indicated, today's activities mark the end of our year-long bidecentennial celebrations. I wish to acknowledge and thank the Director of Communications and Advancement, Dr. Luzuko Jacobs, and his team for the hard work they put into ensuring that our university's celebrations were such a memorable experience. I offer our sincere appreciation to Professor Emeritus Peter Clayton, who was the sponsor of the 120th anniversary celebrations. Much appreciation to the staff, students, and the leadership of Rhodes University for their contribution in ensuring that the celebrations were a great success. We thank our Chancellor, the Chair and other members of our Council, the Chair and other members of our Board of Governors for their unfailing support, wise counsel, and prudent stewardship of our university and its resources. Above all, we thank each one of you for honoring us with your presence as we mark a truly special day and celebrate a phenomenal woman. I thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Are you not done? Okay.
Thank you. Professor Nyokong was signing a book as she indicates, which Einstein also signed. So please, please accept this as my personal gift to you. Accept it as a token of our appreciation for all that you are and all that you've done for the institution.
Okay, so I'm just going to give an indication of what will happen next. We will now proceed to the ribbon cutting. I would like to request Professor Nyokong, the Chancellor, the Executive, the Dean of Science, Dr. Ian Lange, Professor Mashazi, Dr. Moshe, to proceed. Okay. This will just take a moment, and then we shall be back, and I will make the final announcement.
Joey's there. Let me just get my spectacles.
trifling. Okay. After me. Yeah. Okay, so the moment has happened and has been captured. So I've been asked to just make a few remarks as we close. So the first thing I would like to share, as you know, Rhodes University has honored Professor Nyokong by naming this building after her, which doesn't happen often to people that are still living. The second one is that we have approved sabbatical to Professor Spogazi Magadla in 2026, who is working on the biography of 2025, sorry, not 26, thinking ahead, 2025. She's working on the biography of Professor Tebello Nyokong. We think this is very important because a continuing glaring challenge within our higher education sector is the slow rate of demographic transformation, particularly at the senior levels of academic and administrative leadership, with black women often clustered at the lower ranks of the academic hierarchy, making it even more important that the remarkable and still unfolding story of distinguished Professor Tebello Nyokong is told. So we look forward to seeing what comes out, Sipogazi, and we wish you and Prof all the best as you embark on that work. The Vice Chancellor has spoken at length about RU 120 and what it's meant to us. We've spent a lot of time in the past year patting ourselves in the back as we reflected and basked in our past successes. But the question remains, where to from here? What is our plan going forward? The Dean of Science spoke to some of our vision and ambitions and aspirations as we create a precinct that moves from Chem Farm to I&I to the Biosciences building. And with that, we have also as an institution approved 6 institutional research themes, one of which is drugs, health and society, with a very specific focus on drug discovery, drug formulation and drug diagnostics. And we think this space is going to be where that magic happens. We're looking forward to engaging with Professor Nyokong. We still have much to learn from you in terms of how do you manage to get the I&I overflowing with postgraduate students and postdoctoral fellows in a context where we are struggling to meet our postgraduate enrollments. And this is not particular to us, but it's a sector-wide challenge where we are battling to meet our postgrad enrollments. But the I&I isn't, and so there's much to be learned from there. We also have to have some conversations about how to get this magic right on protecting our investments and ensuring the sustainability of all the investments that have already been made. With those few words, I'd like to thank everyone for your attendance. You have been a fantastic audience. Next will come lunch in the Biosciences building to my right-hand side, after which there will be tours of the I&I. Professor Mashazi is going to give some direction in terms of how those tours are going to work later on this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. It's a simple job for me just to basically narrate how we will do the tours. All protocols observed. We have set up our students to basically do the tour inside there. So if once you finish with your lunch, you can group yourself in a group of 8. They will be met at the door by our tour guides, also our students. They will then take you out on the tour. Something that is very important to mention here is the safety. You will be entering a chemistry building. which means that some areas you cannot touch and that, but the students will guide you through that. One thing though is that we've prepared the building for these tours, so feel free, don't feel scared to go in there and explore. Lastly is obviously the safety comes also with having students to point out exit routes should the alarm go off. You will be shown all these as well. But please enjoy yourselves and as we showcase our institute to you. Thank you.